overall level, I can just give you a short insight on where we at. Just show you
Luke,
the
just to interrupt, Luca,
yeah.
we are live streaming. I hope you're cool with that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I will just run you through, share my screen for a few minutes to show you all the repositories, the states, the Jira board, and the actual first build that's online. And Luca is here to maybe ask Andrew if anything you guys need to talk about, and if you guys have any questions into some technical details, how he actually implemented some parts that you want to know about. So this is why I brought Luca. He actually wrote the code, so he can answer any of those questions. So let me just share my screen for a sec. Let's move all the porn away.
These are the actual distractions.
Yeah. Luckily, it's all guys today.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, just a second here. So I'll just share my. Oh yeah, I got it here. Okay. You're seeing the GitLab page? Everything okay? Coming through? Okay, yeah. So I'm just gonna show you first. I think where it is here, the Jira boards. Let me just find it for a second. Now I think it's exactly here. Yeah. So updates on the tasks side. Luca broke down some of the parts that he needed for him to keep organized. He implemented the initial homepage UI. By UI, it means just that he imported some part of the assets, colors, types, fonts, and things like that. So we are midway somewhere in terms that we've done all the prep, we've set up the repositories, the initial stack, the entire platform, everything is developed and ready and in progress in development from that end. And until the end of the sprint, I think all of this will be basically taken care of because, you know, in general, the UI isn't that very much complicated. It's a bunch of images and text, so we don't anticipate any problems here. This should all be done by the end of the week. So that would be concluding the sprint one. And by the end of the week, I'll just show you where the front end is. Basically, this sprint should be finished. And on the next thing, I'll give you an update. Right, it will be right after the planning for the next sprint. So I'll give you a review update, and then we'll take it from there next week. But this is the initial state and the plan for the next few days to finish this up. And we can just show you the first, it's here. Yeah, the first page. There's some animation, I think. Yeah. So this is the initial page that's going to sit here. And now what Luca basically did was the plan, just set up the routing. So all of the pages are now here, like sorted with controllers and things like that. He can go into more depth. Basically, we have the entire end-to-end pages sorted out, all the navigation between them. I know I just skipped it really, really fast, but you can see this number here moving, meaning we're on the next page. So we divided it in levels the same way Marco did. I think I showed it last time. So basically it's LO1, screen 2, and this is just a placeholder for now. And then in the next couple of days, Luca will start importing pictures and text and typography and all of that. So as I said, not much, but the underlying structure is set up and we're in development.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, really.
And
if you guys want to take a look, we run our own GitLab repository, which I think Sam and Marco have access to. But since we have our own like CI and CD integrated, so we didn't want to break the pipeline. So we just kept it as is. And on your own GitHub page, we keep like also regular, I don't know, few days updates with is maybe a day or a commit or two behind in terms of our own GitLab build. So this is more for the open source size. And for you guys to check out, you know, it's a community project. So I'm guessing, you know, issues are open. We can comment there and you can ask questions, or better yet, if you have any concerns, and if you have the time to go into it and maybe explain to us if you see a problem somewhere, so keep track if you're interested on the repository. Sorry, my battery is going to run out. Of course, I forgot to plug in. Just a second.
Nice. These are great work. It's really cool that we can go to commons.dev.synthesis.link and just like see what's going on. Is that going to stay updated?
Yeah, I'll just get into it just a second to get my power source ready. I'm gonna shut down in a minute or so.
I was actually trying to talk while you do that, you know.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Don't listen to me. I'm covering, you know.
And I'm like going as fast as I can because the guy's asking me a question. So come on, hurry up, hurry up. Say something to make up for time, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. Anyway, yeah, we have a pretty standard pipeline with a .dev, .stage, and a production link. So since we don't have anything in staging yet, we're purely in production, in development. Everything, as soon as it's committed to our GitLab repository, is going to be built on this link. And then when we get to, let's say, some kind of open beta testing, we'll put another link that's going to be .stage link. So commons.stage.synthesis.link. And this is where we're going to put everything that is like production ready. In terms, production and stage build are basically equal copies, right? And all the updates and change requests are first done on the dev link, updated and built there. Then we move it to the stage build. And when we fix that for production ready, we just copy it on the production link. So that's shortly our pipeline, how we work generally with all our projects. So in short, yes, this is going to be a regularly updated link. Or should I say as often as Luca does his commits, which is basically daily, I think, yeah. Okay, that's from my side, the update on general
sounded
level.
like you had a comment.
Sorry?
Sam, it sounded like you had a comment. I just wanted to.
Yeah, as I said, I just wanted to open Q&A if you want.
Sam, did you have something?
Sam?
No, not actually. I like the progress, and I don't know. Maybe it's more like where can we contribute in? I mean, is there something from me that you will need, or?
Well, I'm guessing in the next couple of days, I'll be going into the API communication layer. So I'll probably have questions for both you and Andrew, right? I'll basically go through all the information you've sent me into details. I go through it with Luca. And I'm guessing there's going to be questions, but I don't have them ready right now. So I'm guessing like the last half of the week, Thursday, Friday, probably. So I'll ping you. We're on Slack and in Telegram. So
okay, I'm not sure. One of the levels maybe was not that defined. I don't remember in the Figma if we had all the detail or we should define it a little bit more. That is, I don't remember if it was the conviction voting part or there was some graph that Luca put it, and then he said, maybe we should define it a little bit more. I don't know if that's going to be needed at some point. Maybe not this week, but
well, I think Marco is maybe here.
Sorry, Marco, no, Luca. Yeah, go ahead. Simon?
Sorry. Oh yeah, I just wanted to say that in terms of that, I think both Marco and Luca in daily communication terms. So I think we pretty much got it figured out by now. And also, I mean, at this point, it's a dev build, so never mind. I'm just trying to find where the, but I can't find it. Oh yeah, here it is. The levels, yeah, we just, I can share it just shortly, just to see how we keep of track. Just let me, I'll tab back to Jira.
And if you guys ever get stuck on one thing, the CSD dev channel, I've noticed like it's really hard to get people to comment on the Figma, but if you want comments on one screen of the Figma, oh man, everyone's got an opinion. So, it's really easy to get well-scoped, like level 4, you want some thoughts, dude, like just throw a screenshot in the Telegram group and you'll get all sorts of comments.
So just to answer Sam's question, I think both me and Marco went through breakdown of how we're going to actually sort each part of the app. So I think I think next planning is on Monday. So we'll actually go then, and you can Sam, of course, join in, and we can go into details on each level. Actually, if we need some clarification in terms of like what's the content actually about, because I must be honest, I'm not 100% sure what we're simulating, and I did want to ask about Marco more about that. So I'm looking forward on this Monday when planning is going to be for the next sprint, and we can go to those levels into more details. But I think in terms of how the UX or the workflow of the application and the entire front-end works, I think we're pretty much clear there.
Yeah, when it comes to levels, I suggest like we go just one by one.
Yeah.
And if there's any more clarification needed, we're going to reach out to you, Sam, and ask you. And then if more clarification needed or whatever we're stuck on, we're just going to reach out to CS Dev channel and ask for opinions or whatever. But I don't think we're going to have any problems there.
I think, Marco, that it's the level 3 and 4, the funding and decisions,
Yeah.
in which maybe we should change some slightly things, because the question is okay, how much of the community funds can be distributed at any given time, and that's exactly the parameter that we are setting. But I don't know if the graph, maybe I should share my screen.
Yeah, and I really think the best way for this at this point is to also just take screenshots and put it in the UDEV channel.
Yeah, and also, Sam, like, please go ahead and leave those comments or concerns or questions or suggestions like directly in the Figma, so that we can refer back to them at some later stage. So like, you know, when the development is, you know, at level 1 or whatever, you know, we can make some revisions to level 3 or 4 or something like that, right? You know, so yeah, that's what I would suggest, definitely. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
We see your screen.
In that case, in which I guess that when it's okay that we can have from 0 to 100%, and this is moving from one side to another, and I think that it's okay. But at the same time, I don't know if that has much sense, or if that threshold here.
You misspelled threshold.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this part should be different.
Yeah, the graph doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense there, or at least it should be underneath the 30% or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, you can leave a comment on this slide on in the Figma, and then maybe link to whatever suggestions you might have, or a different kind of chart that you know think is better here or something like that. I was actually following the narrative and the instructions in the doc, so I just tried to, you know, do that, like, you know.
Yeah, it's super cool. I mean, I like a lot how you are putting the text, and also it's that slider, and it's cool to see the funding pool, and you are selecting that. The thing is that this part here, I don't think that I don't think that it fits so well. And also here in decisions, are we going to write like how conviction grows on?
Well, most probably yes. Like if there should be something like that, then I guess yes.
The original dream here was it was definitely a difficult thing to communicate, but kind of using a story where I think it's pretty well written out in the narrative doc, but using a story where we can kind of follow what you built with what you forked from SpawnNet, Sam. I don't know if you can. Do you want to share that really quick? That what is it? The P2P models thing. I do think this is valuable, just to show.
You remember the the URL. Computer sim.
But I think I can grab it off the narrative doc.
I don't remember now. The thing is that I think that the exponent simulation is still a bit difficult to understand.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we can simplify that.
I think just allowing someone to move the charts here, I'm going to put it in the Zoom chat and the Telegram chat link here.
Where is the chat?
Hiding underneath your, yeah.
The problem is that I
try Telegram.
okay. CSCP. Okay, this is the threshold, and this is how conviction is growing when people
The interesting part here is when you go up and you move the alpha, the shape of the curves change. And I think that's the like fun like interaction that people can have, is like moving that slider and seeing how that changes the way people are voting. It's definitely a difficult thing it's the most difficult thing we have to communicate. But I definitely can't think of a better way to show, like, you know, the number of days.
I wanted just to jump in quickly here and like say that I completely do not understand this chart.
Yeah.
No, there's no problem.
Yeah, it was the hardest part for me to understand. So
and let's imagine that at the date 20, Griff is staking his tokens into one proposal. So his conviction is growing over time, and it must reach this threshold over here. Griff alone is not going to reach that conviction, never. But if Jeff also stakes 1,000, the sum of the two convictions grows over here. At any point, Griff can withdraw their conviction, their tokens, their vote, his vote, sorry, and his conviction is going to come back. So the total conviction is also coming back. But Jeff, who was staking 1,000, now he decides to stake all his tokens. So conviction is going to grow a lot. So the sum is going to grow a lot. And the important thing is that the sum of the convictions reaches the threshold.
yeah,
Does it have sense now?
Yeah, no, yeah, I got it. It's what I'm thinking about is how to actually, show this other than a chart, or in this way to communicate like what is happening on a timeline or something like that.
What I would love to see, I mean, or here's an idea, because the main thing we're trying to communicate is like, how many days does it take to reach your max voting power? So even if it wasn't so complicated with this whole story, but if it was just like one person's voting power growing over time and having like, maybe like, okay, here's where you start to vote, page 20, the 80% right now is at, day 20, and then 80% is at day 42. But as you move the slider, the 80% shrinks or grows, and you could have like maybe some lines over it that just show the curvature. Oh, look, 80% happened in like 2 days now, or 80, or when you increase alpha, 80% happens in 4 days. But instead of increasing alpha, you're literally just increasing the number of days. So
the parameter that we are going to set up is when you have that increase, when is it going to reach the 80% of conviction? And it's if we were going to say 50%, it's called half-life. And sometimes it will be better to call it just half-life, because it's something that already exists, and it's just a word, so it's easier to refer to it. But if we want to go to 80%, it's also okay. And it's how much days is it going to take to reach 80% of conviction? So in this case, I guess it's 3 days, and it reaches 80% of this percentage.
Voting power,
And after
yeah.
that, it's going to take a lot in order to get 100%. Actually, it's never going to take 100%. It's always going to be approaching and approaching, but never going to reach that. And yeah, this is to show a little bit how the conviction is going to grow and let people understand it. At the same time, I think that it might be confusing for people who are just testing the simulator, and I'm not sure how we can make it understandable for somebody who just is putting some parameters and didn't read the conviction voting article. Maybe having that question and just setting it like here, it's going to be enough for people to understand how much time should pass before an individual's voting power reaches 80% of its full power. And if they ignore that thing, that's going to be fine.
Yeah, I would love to see just a very simple graph that like is a curve that's like, you know, conviction, you know, starts at 0, it grows, and then it shrinks, and you just have that like one simple curve, and then maybe some lines that just say 80%, or one thing that says 80% voting power, this, and then like a horizontal line saying like 80% conviction, a vertical line saying this many days, and you just move. You could just move the number of days. You can move that line.
I am wondering if we just
try
can
to draw something like that, but
if we just can have one stake. So, for example, Griff changes stake to 1,000. So we see just one line, and we are not mixing convictions and doing different things. We just have that one conviction growing, one stake conviction growing. So we can also see what's the difference in changing the alpha. So it could just be that line here, and that's all. So for an alpha of, it could be just that thing here, and it just goes to the end. We can have this until here, because it already decreases because Griff changes the stake. But if Griff didn't change the stake, it will grow like this, and that's all. And we could have that. And actually, we could have where it reaches 80%. We could have the threshold at 80%, and that's all. What do you think?
Well, I think we should get rid of the threshold piece because it doesn't necessarily apply here. I mean, it might be a little extra.
It applies because we are looking for how much days it is going to cost to reach 80%. And in that case, 80% is the threshold that we are looking for.
Well, yeah, but the threshold, I guess, I don't, yeah, I would just call it 80% at least. And
yeah,
I just drew something really ugly, but I'll
Yeah, but it's actually a threshold. It's not the proposal threshold because we are looking at an individual. But if everybody were staking, that will be the threshold actually. So it depends on how you are saying the things, but the threshold has also that property that at 80%, if everybody is staking, if the threshold were at 80%, then that will reach that point in the number of days that we are setting up.
What do you think, Marco?
I don't know at this point, really.
Can you check out?
I think Sam, you and I should maybe iterate on that level a bit more together.
Okay.
And see see what's the best way to communicate this, or different way to communicate this if possible.
Okay. I am pretty confident that we can reduce a lot of complexity with just showing the line, how one line grows. And we call it in the proper way. I mean,
can you check out the CSD dev channel?
Marco, when will you be available for working on that?
When are you available?
Let's see. I think tomorrow I am available all day.
All right, cool. I ping you then.
Okay.
All right. Person moves these lines.
If I can just add a comment from the development side. At this point, for our side, in terms of development, if you don't actually reorder the sequence of the pages and the levels, we're fine until the end of the sprint. But in terms, if we're going to make some drastic changes in terms of how the UI is going to look, then I would say we would need to sort it out sometimes, in the next 2 or 3 weeks before we actually implement it. Yeah, okay, I'm just giving you the timeline here because, better to know it there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
I think that the most changes are going to be in funding and decisions.
Okay.
So I think that if you are with the intro and the levels from 0 to 2, it's safe. And I don't think that we are going to have a lot. I mean, maybe that page changes, but it's not.
It's basically 10 work days, so I think you can go actually into few iterations and have time to actually, I'm just saying, we got time. It's not a panic.
Yeah, let's do that. And
Okay,
I don't think it's going to be a big change because the funding pool and that slider it's going to be still there. And this is going to be, it's just to clarify that we probably don't want to put here threshold. We want to put here 80%, and then we want to draw a line here, and I think that the rest is going to be okay because
I recall that on this level actually I did not put the line, the chart, because I thought it will be just programmatically, dynamically produced. And we can just change threshold to 80% and whatever else. And also you see that I included here the switcher, like 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, 1 year, or whatever, or a custom value. So basically you can add a custom value here.
Yeah, it looks very
Sam,
good.
let's connect tomorrow and let's discuss these revisions and then make them and finalize these two levels. Okay,
cool. Well, then let's keep
sorry, this is only for level 3 and level 4, right? Those are the 2 graphs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, level 1 is great for sure. And I think level 2 is pretty solid as well. Unless
Yeah, that's going to be super cool.
Yeah, that was Sam's dream. And then Level 2, just number of proposals. I mean, it's just a number of proposals. So unless you, Marco, wants to kick that up, I think it's fine just to be a number. So cool. Well, then shall we keep going? I think we're done with updates on the front end, right?
Yeah, more or less. I probably won't even touch those graphs this week, so we still have time to decide on how they're going to look.
Great. And then Sam, did you want to go into? It's too bad we lost Andrew. If I would have known he was going to leave, that we would have started with him. But did you say that you had issues with Mr. Black's work before?
No, actually, it's not. I had issues. It just
Well, it didn't work for you when you tried to deploy it.
I couldn't run the latest commits, but probably it's because Andrew and him were working on it, and it didn't work. Actually, I think that the last commits are introducing the 8 parameters and instead of 6 that we are using right now, because they added kappa too, which we shouldn't, but it's okay. It's okay. I just did a branch with a working simulation and front end that can be used. I don't know if you guys saw it. I can share now if we have time.
Yeah. Although we should try to. We usually end early, so we should try to keep this quick. I also put a link to the work that Mr. Black did and with Andrew, the front end for it. The main thing here is just nailing down the APIs and the stuff that you guys will need when you want to connect to cadCAD. Is kind of it had 2 purposes. Number 1, for us to tune the cadCAD model without having needing things to be pretty, and then number 2, making sure we actually have a working front end connection to the cadCAD model, so we can run and simulate and not have to and beta test that for you before you run into it. But as Sam said, I think it's pretty rough. It was a 4-hour hackathon we threw together, and it's missing some pieces. So
okay, I'll just have to give you heads up. I'll have to go in about 5 to 10 minutes, so I'll just have to let you know if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I am building the project and I can share it with you. Just a sec. I hadn't it prepared. Wait, just one sec. Okay, I can share now. And here it is. So we have 6 parameters here: number of participants, number of proposals. Theta is going to be the parameter that at the moment of the hatch is going to separate the funds into the reserve pool and the funding pool. Then once the bonding curve is open, people who is selling in the bonding curve are going to have an exit tribute. And we also have alpha and max proposal amount, which are the parameters of conviction voting. So these are the 6 parameters that we have right now in the simulation, and we can set them up. For example, we want to set up a lower theta and a higher x attribute, and I don't know, maybe we can set up a higher alpha, and we can run it. And if we wait a little bit, hopefully it's going to create 2 graphs. Here they are. So these are the 2 graphs that we had in the original simulation. It's not using the Andrew simulation. It's using the original conviction tree model simulation. And we have here how the funds in the commons pool are growing, and because there are proposals that spend those funds, they decrease. So we have one proposal here, another proposal here, another one, another one. So we have 4 proposals that pass, and we end up with quite a lot of funds. So this works. We end up with more funds than what we begin. So it kind of works. And also we see here the price of the token, how it increases over time. I don't know if you're familiar. These are the actual funds that are there in the commons pool, but also there is an internal token that in that case increase the price over time. And we also have the reserve and the supply and the funds. So we see how the supply of that token is also increasing over time, and I guess that funds are the commons pool. I don't know, Griff. You know that?
Yeah, it's the funds are the common pool, but it doesn't make sense to be on the graph because the quantity of assets is so small. You know, like number of DAI in the funding pool compared to number of tokens on the same line. So you can't see the variability. It's but
so the line here is this one here.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the other big piece here is we're going to add the third graph for sentiment.
Okay.
And of course, we need to connect it to Andrew's sim instead of the old CV.
I think that they have been working on that. So
yeah, they have a pretty ugly connection to just some graphs and not the right graphs, but it's there.
Okay. The thing is that these graphs are generated in the server, and we should also generate them in the front end using a library or so. But we can get the inspiration from the server, and that's all. It's in the branch simple frontend of Common Simulator repo, and you can just install it using pip for Python, pip install requirements.txt.
You'll definitely want to tag Mr. Black and Andrew on this on these instructions, because I don't think they're going to rewatch this video.
Okay. Yeah, it's also for you guys, for Lucas especially, if you want to see how the results page could look like.
Yeah, I'll just I mean, it depends on the graph if it's like one line or few, but that's not so much of an issue. Like those 2 axis graphs, it's okay, whatever the server returns, it should be handleable pretty easily, moderately easily.
Okay, but by the way, this is what the simulation is going to expect, these 6 parameters, and we will have data to fill up these 2 graphs and also the sentiment.
All right.
How people sees the DAO over time.
Okay.
Hey,
Liv,
Sam.
are we going to, yeah.
Sorry, you can ask your question first.
How is going to be that graph? It's going to be accumulated, or each participant is going to show the sentiment over time?
It'll just be the there's two sentiments in the conviction voting, or sorry, there's two sentiments in the cadCAD model. There's the group sentiment aggregated, and then there's each individual participant sentiment, and we'll just show the groups the overall sentiment of the DAO.
Okay.
So it'll just be one line. Each one of these graphs will just be one line.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's just too confusing. Someone sees a graph with multiple lines. It's like, what the hell is going on? And they'll all just be time versus, one will be time versus sentiment. One will be time versus price of the token. One will be time versus total funds in the pool. So they could all be put on each other, but it's just too confusing. So it's just better to be three graphs.
Okay. So we are also going to erase that line here, right? The funds line.
Yeah, that would be gone. The reserve and supply would also be gone.
Okay. So we are just showing that line, the
Yeah.
price in DAI per token.
Yeah. And that's going to need to be played with in Andrew's sim though. Like I think that's the only one I think that we have that's kicking out, right? Or maybe it's the funding pool one. I'd have to check.
I didn't understand.
Well, right now, I mean, in game.commonstack.org, he has 3 graphs coming out. And the funding pool graph is the only one that's actually there and should be real. And the other graphs he has are token supply and collateral. And that's just to like show, it's just to show that there'll be 3 graphs, but he needs to actually create the data for the price and the sentiment and put so that it can go to the front end.
Okay.
The thing I was going to ask is I could use a little math hackathon sesh with you if you'd be down to figure out how to go from number of days for 80% voting power to derive alpha.
Yeah, I can do that.
Oh yeah? Yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
that would be cool. I mean, I'd be down to play with it with you, but if you want to take it on your own, that would be great too. I'm not going to complain.
This is what I already did that for the conviction voting app.
Oh, great. Okay.
So at the end, we are going to put the number of days to reach 50% in the contract, because it's much easier to understand than putting a 0.99995.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody understands that,
Yeah.
but people is going to understand how much time it's going to cost.
Yeah, and we're doing 80% instead of 50%, but hopefully that's cool.
Yeah, actually, in the conviction in the smart contract, we are going for 50% because it's more like a standard. But in Common Simulator, we say that it's better 80%, so we can go with that.
Yeah, I don't think the idea of 50% is fully communicated what that means, with just like, okay, you get half the voting power at this time. That it's like, okay, you think linear, you think, okay, so then I'll get the full voting power at double that time.
Yeah. Yeah, in order to communicate it, I think it's better 80%, but in order to it's more standard to say the half time and the half-life.
Yeah, if you're talking to scientists, absolutely. If you're talking to people,
This is why we can have 80% in the simulation, and later also in the front ends we can have 80%. But in the smart contract, I think that because it's better to say half-life than 80% time or something like that,
Yeah.
which is not even a name.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's better to have a variable that says half-life.
Yeah.
It's also
well,
super cool name.
Yeah. Well, we're at the top of the hour, so are there any other things that people need to sync on, or that people have that will, that if we don't talk about right now, we'll block the week's work?
I'll contact Marco regarding some SVGs and stuff, because when I export like SVG from Figma, it only exports the part that's actually shown on the screen and not the one that's like out of the bounds of the view. So I'll just write him up right after this, so we'll clear that out.
Cool. Well, then I think that we can call it another fun call. We got a little bit in the weeds, but it was fun, and hopefully I can't wait to see it. It looks like we're set up for major progress this week. I was chatting with Andrew. He says that he should be able to get the full model done within the next week and a half. So that's pretty sweet. And I think that the progress from this week to next week and then the week after, it's going to be blazing speed faster than we have ever seen. I think we're set up for it. So this is pretty exciting. Thank you so much, Luca, for joining us and all the work that you're putting in. It's huge. You're really making this happen. And Marco, thanks for leading the project, man, behind the scenes, killing it.
Yeah, guys, super cool.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, cool. And Sam, can you stay a little longer? Because I'm sure we have a lot of other things to talk about if you have a free sec.
Yeah, I have another call, but we can stay.
I'll ping you. I'll ping you on Telegram then. Okay.
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 Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Hey, guys. But if you want to stay, I have 3 minutes in order to. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me just.